Hi and welcome to Sandwiches, Reviews and Recommendations. In today's video we're going to be talking about the film Spiderman No Way Home. So the cast of this film, we obviously have Tom Holland playing Spider-Man / Peter Parker. We have Zendaya playing MJ, Peter's girlfriend. We have Jacob Ballaton playing Ned, Peter's best friend. We have Marissa Tomei playing Aunt May. We also have Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange. And for the villains, we have Willem Dafoe returning as Norman Osborn, also known as Green Goblin. And we have Alfred Molina playing Dr. Otto Octavius, also known as Dr. Octopus. Now, for the next three people, this is a spoiler warning, just to let you know. Alright, we have Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire playing both Spider-Man from their own universes. And we have Charlie Cox playing Matt Murdock, sadly not Daredevil. For anyone who is interested in what the film is about, Peter Parker, after the last film, is exposed as being Spider-Man. And we see him, his family and friends dealing with the repercussions and consequences of being associated and knowing Spider-Man. The straw that breaks the camel's back is when Spider-Man and his friends are all rejected from college. He decides to go talk to none other than Doctor Strange, using magic and spells to possibly undo the fact that everyone in the world knows that he is Spider-Man. But sadly, after meddling with the spell, he inadvertently makes all multiple dimensions open and come to his universe, and sadly, bad type of people get in. The film is a great watch for many reasons, first being the humour, one never feeling forced, the jokes nearly all of them hit, and it just makes a great cinema experience. Another thing I really enjoyed about this film is that this film knew when to take itself seriously, especially the last 20 minutes, where I would say it was one of the most saddening MCU endings and probably quite upsetting Spider-Man endings. Another great thing I really did enjoy about this film is how Peter is quite selfless in this film and even sacrifices his own existence to others to save everyone else. I do enjoy this film. I do have a few issues plot-wise. So, we all know Spider-Man is a teenager, yet because he has done out of the ordinary experiences in this film, he believes that he is mature enough to make adult decisions. So when he and his friends get rejected from joining MIT, he goes to the extreme option of talking to Doctor Strange, and after meddling in a spell which causes the entire film events, he then decides, after doing that spell, to call MIT and explain the situation, which infuriates Doctor Strange and myself, as he went from the extreme option of doing the spell to going to the easier one, which people would argue is that he's a teenager, he's not known for making rational decisions, and it somewhat makes him relatable. But in my eyes, when I've made a mistake, I don't go try and talk to a wizard to fix it. But again, that's me. Another thing that bothered me is, even though the villains of the film they don't start off particularly evil or have hatred in their hearts, they're more confused of, if anything. But after the whole Mysterio fiasco, you would assume that Spider-Man would be less trustworthy, especially from people who aren't even from his universe, and maybe go with Doctor Strange on this one. But no, he decides that what he knows is right and goes by that instinct, and to an extent at the end he is in the right, but he loses so much because of that decision. One other thing that slightly bothered me was how the film tried to villainise Doctor Strange, who admittedly, when you think about it, it was a bit inhumane of his idea, but it wouldn't have cost Aunt May's life and his existence to everyone else. One small thing I found about the film was how easy Peter and Doctor Strange were able to capture all the villains, and the fact that they captured them so easily, it made it somewhat predictable that Spider-Man would end up being betrayed by these villains. My last critique of the film is that because of how quite great this film is and what they use, it makes it somewhat difficult to continue this series or make a new Spider-Man film in my own eyes. Of course, not to say they can't make new ideas, it's just that I don't think that with what this film brings to the table, being emotion, character development and the amount of villains, that a reboot or a sequel is going to be able to top this film. And I think that future Spider-Man films are going to kind of suffer because of that. But overall, I really did enjoy this film. I think that this film actually puts Marvel back in my good graces, which is something quite remarkable, as I thought I'd have to see a season 4 of Daredevil in order to get that. But no, they were able to pull it off, and good on them. With all that being said, I give this film an 8.9 out of 10. Now, for other Spider-Man recommendations, I would definitely recommend the cartoons, as that's where Spider-Man is at its best, personally, with the Spider-Man animated series from the 1990s and Spectacular Spider-Man, which you can find on Netflix. I would also recommend the Sam Raimi Spider-Man Tobey Maguire trilogy and the Andrew Garfield films, as he isn't a bad Spider-Man. The films themselves aren't that great, but he is a good Spider-Man. I'd obviously recommend the Tom Holland trilogy, but also his appearances in the films Captain America Civil War, where he first gets introduced to the character. We see more of him in Avengers Infinity War, and a little scene from Avengers Endgame. Alright, hope you enjoyed this review.